Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, definitely come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. That community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that six and that seven-figure level. So if you want to be a part of an awesome community of supportive individuals, definitely come check us out. Now, today, I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Kylee. Welcome, Kylee.
Hi, lovely to be here.
Great to have you. So tell us, Kylee, what is it that you do?
So I'm based in Brisbane, Australia, and I am a coach. So I came from an educational background and I specialize in leadership. So really around leadership of self, because I think if we get leadership of self right, then it enables us to lead others better. So yeah, that's my area of specialization and my absolute passion.
Yeah. And you said you're in Australia right now?
Yeah,
Okay,
in
love it, love
Brisbane.
it. Yeah, cool stuff. So what got you started down this path?
So I've worked in education for 20 years and my background's in disability and complex behaviour. But I worked my way up through the system and became an administrator. I worked in a variety of roles within the department. And what I saw was that our families and our young people and our staff needed coaching around how to lead themselves to be better versions of themselves. And when we got that right, then we actually had better success, not only in the classroom, but in the community and then overall in schools. So I was really passionate about making sure that we were working towards and empowering others in their journey. And I think that was really the part of the job that I loved and enjoyed the most in education. So about 18 months ago, I started to have a bit of a think about where I wanted to go into the future. And one of the things that I really looked at was what were the elements of the job that I really loved. And the parts of the job that I really loved was the coaching of the young people that I was working with, the coaching of the families that had potentially been disempowered through a whole variety of circumstances, and then empowering my staff and coaching my staff to get the outcomes that they needed to get. So when I started to look at the bits of the job that I loved, as opposed to the bits of the job that I wasn't so keen on, I started to think that maybe I should focus on that a little bit more explicitly. So I've started to transition and have transitioned out of the department into a full-time role where I can value add into everybody's lives.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, how does your business, are you working with individuals in person or is it virtual?
So I do mixed. So obviously with the whole COVID thing, there's been a little bit more online. So I have a bit of a niche market in the sense that whilst I work with leadership and I work with educational teams and I work with adults that are wanting to be educational leaders or leaders in general, I also work with people with disabilities to help them empower themselves. So that delivery is often more effective in a face-to-face context.
Mm-hmm. And what's your why behind what is that you do?
My why? I love this question because it's something that drives me every single day. So ever since I was a younger person, empowerment of others has been my why. So I started to look at, and that's why I kind of went into education, I believe, is because I wanted to empower others to be successful. And then I started to look at what that actually meant for me in these last couple of years. So I always thought that was through a school lens, and realized that I can actually have and be more impactful in my why in a coaching context and have get the better outcomes for the people that I want to serve and empower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, powerful stuff, powerful stuff. And in terms of what would you say is one skill that's really gotten you to your level of success today?
I'm a really relational leader. So when you work with complex young people and complex families, you need to be able to develop a rapport and a relationship really quickly. So I was the one that they used to call when the kid was on the roof. I was the one that they used to call when the kid had left the school grounds. If I had complex families, they would call me because I was really good at developing a relationship from a non-judgmental perspective, sitting with the families and working with them collectively to get an outcome that was going to be beneficial and empower their young person and themselves in their journey. So I think that skill of developing relational connections very quickly is something that I certainly bring to the coaching in every meeting that I have, regardless of who I'm serving.
Hmm. Love it, love it. Now, and do you feel like you're on purpose?
On purpose, absolutely. So every day I choose, and I come from a servitude mentality, and I'm so grateful. And the learning that I come from, I come away with learning every coaching session as well. So I love serving the clients that I serve, and I go in, and this is absolutely the role that I believe I was meant to be
Hmm.
and meant to do.
Yeah, good, good. What about so as you made your transition right into running your own business, was it a pretty difficult transition for you, or was it just like a smooth process?
Is there anything such thing as a smooth process? I'm not really sure that actually exists. So I actually had a bit of an interesting transition because I actually injured myself about just over 15 months ago. So it meant that the role that I was doing, which was, I'd leave at 6:30 in the morning and get home at 6 o'clock at night. And I'm a mum of three children. So when I injured myself, I kind of had to sit back and have a bit of a look at what that looked like for me and my children moving forward. So it created a bit of an opportunity to pivot. Sometimes they say that these things happen to you for a reason, and I absolutely believe that, because it enabled me to pivot and really focus on the parts of the job that I was really passionate about, and then turn that in. But not smooth. It's probably one of my challenges is I'm highly have high expectations of myself. So sometimes I think things should happen overnight and they don't. But over the last probably 3 or 4 months, it's definitely growing. I've been fully booked out for the last month with no advertising. It's been referral based only. So I think that lends itself to show that there's a definite need for the service that I provide. So whilst not smooth, it's had its own challenges. I certainly think it's moving in the forward direction and the
Hmm.
right direction.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Because I know a lot of the members of the community, a lot of them, they're like on the fence as far, should I do this? Should I not? Should I do this? And as you said, there's no such thing as a smooth transition. Like if you really want
No.
to do it, you just gotta get in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing is that it has to work for you. So it's about what you need for your situation. And for me, as a single parent, safety and security and financial security was absolutely my priority. So I probably sat on that fence for a little bit of time because I was a little bit nervous about what that looked like. So for me, I probably just took a little bit longer, but I think the journey for me was then more successful because I'd taken the lessons of learning. I'd
Hmm.
done it I'd gone down to a part-time arrangement so that I could focus on both. And now I'm into the point where I can actually focus full time. So, and it's thriving.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And a question I like to ask as well, too, because I know as entrepreneurs, as we go through life, we always have these big breakthroughs or big ideas. Do you have any breakthroughs that's come for you over the past, maybe say, few days or few weeks that you'd like to share?
I'm not sure if it's the last few days. I think the biggest aha moment for me is, I was a pretty successful leader in my educational space. I was a deputy principal in a school and aspiring principal. So I certainly had that trajectory. I was within that role fairly quickly in my career too. So I'd always been probably fairly well, in terms of my content knowledge and all that kind of stuff. But I think for me, since my injury and things like that, I think the biggest aha moment was the self-awareness that has led me to be a much more like 10x kind of more effective uh, leader and ability to serve my community. So that self-awareness journey that has grown exponentially, and I have aha moments on a daily. I was talking to a client the other day and we were talking about the love languages actually, and the aha moment for me was around, when we talk about words of affirmation and how we give words of affirmation, and that's the way we feel loved. The opposite's also true, that when we hear negative, we actually react more exponentially because it's our love language. And so as I'm working with my clients, I'm helping them have their aha moments, but quite often I'll have a bit of a, oh yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense moment for myself as well in my journey. So I think it's about lifelong learning and ever growing in that, and being open to the fact that you're always learning. And that's really powerful for me in terms of better serving my community.
Hmm. Awesome. What about your clients? What's that vision that you hold for them?
Well, I say to them that my role really is to work with them so successfully that they don't need me anymore, to essentially do myself out of a job, right? So it's about building their capacities. And I often talk about putting tools in their toolbox. So it's not that they don't, that there's anything wrong with them. It's about the fact that maybe they just don't have the right tools in their toolbox. And when I talk about, if you're changing the tire on a bike and you've only got a hammer, well, it's a tool, but it's not the most effective tool. So I talk about, okay, well, what are the most effective tools that you need in your particular situation at the moment that are going to help you move forward and live the life that you want to do and have the successes that you want?
Hmm. And what about how does it look working with you?
How does it look working with me?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's a variety. It's really individually based. So some clients that I work with work more effectively when we do a bit of a walk and talk kind of coaching. So I'm a bit creative and about tailoring the needs to the individual. So it's really about, I do a lot of face to face. I find because I'm quite a relational person, I love the connection that I get from working with clients face to face. And I can tell a lot more when you're working in that space. I'm quite intuitive and get into working about what's the underlying story that they're telling me. But I'm very flexible, and it's about meeting the needs of the client where they're at. So I try and tailor that to their individual needs.
Okay, so your program is more of like a tailored type of process.
Yeah, absolutely. So I offer. So when I do my leadership coaching, I offer like a 10 block kind of sessional, and then we review that where that's going. Other clients I do on a more individual week by week basis. It really is, I kind of have my introduction with them. I have a conversation with them. I find out what it is that they want and what they want to achieve. And then we work through a tailored program depending on what those needs actually are.
Hmm. Awesome, good. Now, what do you say is one habit for success while growing a coach and consultant business? If you had to just pick one of them, what would you say is one of the key ones?
There's a few, but one of the most powerful ones that ever said to me was sometimes you need to slow down to speed up. And so sometimes when you're rushing through your day, you just need to take a moment and actually pause and just check and get back in the present and see where you're at. In terms of building those habits, I think it's really important that you practice what you preach. So I'm continually developing my own self-awareness because I'm asking my own clients to develop the skills in that self-awareness. And I also try and practice that vulnerability and courage of stepping outside my comfort zone, because that's what I'm asking my clients to do.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, good. So in essence, when a client comes to you, right, what's the what do you well, I guess even before we go into that type of realm with clients, how do you how do you define who is that ideal client for you and who's someone you want to work with versus not want to work with? How does what are your criteria?
So the clients that I want to work with are the clients that actually want to um, see significant change. So I deal with lots of quite a variety of different things. So some of them are aspiring leaders. So they have to be open and willing, and they need to be coachable. You meet some people and they think that they know where they're going and they have very strong opinions about that, and that's really, really great, but they're not open to taking on anybody else's perspective. And so what I'm asking them to do is to reflect on their own journey. But sometimes that requires thinking from things from a different perspective. So that's really important for me. I've had some clients that have not been willing to be open in terms of what that journey looks like for them. And so that we've kind of made an agreement that that's probably not the quite right for them, and it's not the right fit for me. So I have a variety of clients, but I think the commonality is that they all want to be better versions of themselves, and they're actually open to trying new things.
Hmm. And what's next for you and your company?
So I'm really excited. So I've got a few projects in the pipeline, actually. One of them's about developing an online program. And really it's around leadership and infinite leadership, and developing those tools in the toolbox. And then I love presenting in front of an audience, and I love working with large groups of people. So then being able to take that program and then extend it out into working with corporations and different businesses to build their whole leadership, because I think it's about leading where you're at. So leadership's not just for the higher echelon within a company, and it's about, no matter where you fit within an organization, you have an opportunity to lead, and in our empowering those others. And if you're leading where you're at, then that's going to have a flow-on effect within whatever organization that you're working at.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So up until the point to where you are today in your life and your business, if you had to sum everything down to just one key concept, as far as if someone just practiced that, they could create success, they could get to where they want to get to. How would you define that key concept?
Oh, one key concept. I think one of the key concepts around, you mean in terms of being successful in life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Life,
Uh,
business.
yeah, so reflection. I think you need to be pausing, you need to be reflecting what works well, what didn't work well, and then pivoting where you need to from that kind of perspective. So I think reflection's a really powerful tool, and I think it helps us move forward. We can reflect on where we are currently, and is it aligned to where we want to be, in terms of some of the decisions that we've made. Are they helping us? Are they serving us to get where we want to go? And are we doing the work in that space? So I think reflection's a really important key tool.
Yeah, that's pretty good as well too, because it's like I know as being entrepreneurs and stuff like that, it's pretty easy just to keep going after the next project,
Yeah.
looking for success versus always taking a pause back and looking back and seeing what you did and the results you got from it, right?
Yeah, and what's the learning from this situation? So good, bad, ugly. What's the learning here? And I think the only, we talk about, we're not very good at learning how to fail at anything. So we talk about it in schools all the time. We're like, oh, just have a go. It doesn't matter if you get it right or all that. But as adults, we're actually really bad at it. We don't like to fail. We don't like to make mistakes. So I talk to my clients all the time about, it's only a failure if you actually don't learn something from it. So what's the learning here for you? This didn't work out how you intended, planned, wanted, but what's the learning from that? And then if you're learning from that, then it's actually not a failure.
Hmm. Yeah. And in terms of this message, who's that ideal person you want this message to reach?
I would like to, oh, well, I've got a very broad reach, but I would really like to work with people that are aspiring leaders, in terms of, when I went into the system, I was very quickly, as I said, got into a leadership position, but no one actually teaches you how to be a leader. You get promoted on your ability to have a particular set of skills or a particular skill. So what I would like to see is that leadership is enabled into organizations where you can actually develop those leadership skills early to enable you to be a better leader when you actually get into that leadership role.
Hmm.
Mm.
Awesome. Love it, Kylie. Well, hey, now if someone wanted to connect, what's the best way for them to be able to reach out?
Yeah, so on Facebook, I have a page called Elements for Success. And then on Instagram, I'm also under Elements for Success. My website is nearly ready, so it's ready for launch next month. So I'm really excited about that getting up and running. But you can connect with me on either Facebook or Instagram, and then you can message me from there, and we can go from there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, guys. And if you will listen to this on the live or the replay, all the links to connect with Kylie, they will either be right above or below this video, so you could click on and get connected right to her. Well, hey, Kylie, thank you so much for making the time to be here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me from Australia.
Awesome. You're welcome. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
No, just as absolute gratitude for having me on and sharing my journey. And I love learning about everybody else's journey. And I think, we talk about the fact that, we can all be learning from each other, and it's about supporting and growing the community. And that's what's really powerful about what you do. And I wanted to thank you for the opportunity. And I watch all the live videos, and I learn so much from each and every person that's on. So it's really exciting. Thank you very much.